from Argentina, number 14 in the world and second seed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Diego Schwartzman.
It is a familiar feeling for Diego Schwartzman here in Antwerp. This is his third final at the European Open in Belgium. His march to the showpiece match has been as relentless as his opponents today. He hasn't dropped a set in any of his matches so far to get here, as he tries to pick up his second title of the season.
And from Italy, the number 13 on the ATP rankings, the first seed at the European Open. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jannik.
But this guy has been the man to beat this week, no question about it, with a beady eye on what would be a fourth title of the season for him and a fifth of an impressive young career. He's also got an eye on the race to Turin, where victory here today would certainly see him close the gap significantly on Hubert Hurkacz. I'm Sue Thill, delighted to say in the company of Miles McLagan for a final that I know we're both very much looking forward to. These two men have been the standout performers without a question this week, haven't they?
Good afternoon. Yes, it's a fitting final. The top seeds, two guys on form, two guys playing some really impressive tennis. They've had a fairly comfortable route score-wise. They've certainly been pushed at times in terms of the tension. Schwartzman perhaps more so. But you're looking forward to this one, to seeing what is going to make the difference. This young man, he was, well, he continues to astound. You see the great stuff he produces, and then he produces even more from there. But how will he do against the resilience, the lion-hearted Argentine?
Yes, he's going to make him play plenty of balls today, Diego Schwartzman, and look to be aggressive when he can be as well. He dialed it in against Andy Murray in his opening match. He's been terrific.
For the picture for them after the point toss. Still the same since the first round. You guys have any questions? Okay, white box, blue box. Okay. Diego, ATP Tour, ATPTour.com.
ATP.
Picture for him.
Receive.
Receive.
Allowed.
Okay, photo.
Well, one of the many eye-catching elements of Jannik Sinner's game is his return game. It's exceptional, and he's chosen to start the match that way. Have a look at the serve of Diego Schwartzman, and look at that, the number 1 and the number 2 seed in front of a full house in Antwerp. It really doesn't get much better than that on a Sunday afternoon. Just confirmation of their route through. They've both got better and better as the week has gone on. Arthur Rinderknecht was really impressive against Sinner, but only able to assemble 6 games. And Lloyd Harris, who had been blazing a trail to the last 4, dismissed and dispatched for the loss of just 4 games. And a couple of talented American qualifiers taken out by Diego Schwartzman in his last 2 matches after getting the better of Andy Murray at the start of the week. Well, for Sinner, just 20 years of age, so much history on the line, well, in the future, never mind in the present, but looking to win a 4th title this year and become the youngest player since Novak Djokovic to win 5 titles at this young age, since he did it in 2007, and he keeps some very esteemed company in that regard, doesn't he, Miles?
Yes, you see the names he's in amongst, like I said, Zverev, Djokovic. He's impressive, does it also seems to just take it all in stride. He's so calm. What is it going to take to fluster this young man? And we just saw he won the toss, chose to receive, as he did yesterday, got off to the perfect start. Broke Lloyd Harris early on, and yeah, he was just able to blunt the South African's serve, which has been such a weapon for the South African. But yeah, his timing off the return, his ability to get the ball into court and then play aggressively from there was good to watch. A little look at his route through. The talented his fellow countrymen. And in the second round, of course, he had a bye being the top seed. And then yesterday, what I thought might be a tricky encounter, brushed aside the South African. In fact, it was Lloyd Harris was almost left chuckling at the quality that Sinner was able to produce at times.
Well, this guy's all about quality as well. It's going to be a different look at the serve of Diego Schwartzman today for Jannik Sinner. Obviously nothing like as big as the serve of Lloyd Harris, but what Diego does so well is take the ball early, hit it aggressively, and he returns exceptionally as well. In fact, he leads the ATP stats for his return game, so he's going to counter the Italian with problems on his own serve potentially, isn't he?
I think so, and yes, I mean, his serve is respectable, but with all due respect, it has its limitations, doesn't it, because of his height, but the return, getting balls back into court, both of these men have been very successful returning this week. 4 career titles, one this year. That was in his hometown in Buenos Aires, a special one there, and that's a look at his route through. It took some work, and I suppose he's perhaps been the benefit of the draw in some ways. Murray had that marathon before that, didn't he? Nakashima had a tough ride through too, and Brooksby perhaps was fatigued a little, but it's easy to get a little tired when you're up against this little terrier who never stops snapping at your heels.
Another one of those firsts between these two. Diego Schwartzman had never faced Andy Murray before, and he hadn't faced Jannik Sinner until today. So they'll have seen plenty of each other, but not across the net. So that's going to be another little extra element, needing to get used to what comes off the other's racket.
30 seconds.
Diego Schwartzman loves the conditions here. He's been talking about the conditions. He enjoys them, and so does Jannik Sinner. He says they're very similar to Sofia, where he's obviously won back-to-back titles.
You're absolutely right. Yes, of course. Well, the third final. Will it be third time lucky for Schwartzman? And it was quite funny in his interview after there's obviously a lady in the crowd who sort of was giving him chocolates. He said he's got his grandmother from Antwerp to watch. He feels so at home. And I hope she didn't take that too bad. I think she seemed quite pleased at the time. And yeah, Sinner as well. This court just made from it's a fairly slow, but with his power he can hit through it. And it's not just about the power. What an athlete he is. And I think you touched on it. Schwartzman's going to look to be aggressive. He is an aggressive player. Looks to get forward and maybe blunt some of the firepower of his Italian opponent with his own regression.
Well, it's a terrific final on paper. There is no doubt about that, and the tennis that they've both played this week would suggest a thriller is definitely on the cards. And it's the trophy waiting for the champion come the end of this, and one of these men, they're both on 4 career titles, is going to have a 5th. And you touched on it as well, Miles. Jannik Sinner looking to join the club of 4 titles this year. Ruud out in front with 5, but Novak Djokovic, Daniil Medvedev and Sasha Zverev have all won 4 titles. He could certainly join that particular club today. Last 9 games, didn't he, of his semi-final against Jenson Brooksby yesterday. Finished with a flourish, that match.
Did, and as we mentioned earlier against Murray as well, once he got himself organised, got his thoughts into order, it was a a runaway train, particularly yesterday. He was given somewhat of a helping hand by Brooksby, who also seemed to be somewhat mystified at what he was going to have to do to get through Schwartzman's defenses. All 3 points on the serve will be most welcome.
Yes, he'll be looking to find plenty of first serves today.
Yeah. And his quarterfinal against Nakashima lost just 7 points on serve. He was able to be very comfortable. 6-4, 6-2 win over young American, who's also another on the rise.
Steady start from Diego Schwartzman from running. Even though these are two really experienced players, it always helps to just settle a few nerves in a championship match like this. Plenty on the line for both.
Absolutely. We haven't really talked about the fact that it is a final, and it's a big deal anytime you're playing in that final match. Trophy right on the side. We just got a good look at that. As if there wasn't enough pressure, they plonk it right on the side of the court.
They do. To torment you. 12th final of Diego Schwartzman's career, 4 titles won, 7 where he came up just short. There's Riccardo Piatti on the left-hand side. Jannik Sinner's coach, and been a key part of his development, which has been rapid when you consider he was only playing twice a week as few as 7 years ago. 13, would you believe it? Oh, he'd had enough of that rally.
He shifted out of third, didn't he? Made to work by Schwartzman, but an early look at the firepower he has and how easily it comes. There's no obvious sign. Some players, you see the legs load up, the big hit's coming.
He used that forehand like a battering ram against Arthur Rindeknecht the other day. Rindeknecht had beaten him in Lyon earlier this year, and Jannik Sinner certainly hadn't forgotten that.
And I think that's going to be one of the key differences today, just the fact that he does have extra firepower on the serve, and a match that we expect to be tough from the back of the court. Ability to get those free points, get you out of a couple difficult situations perhaps.
I suppose the scary thing, Miles, when you look at Jannik Sinner, is that he closes in on the top 10, and probably best not to look at that. There are so many places his game can still go in terms of development and improvement, aren't there?
Yeah, I think that the sort of general improvement of all round as well. I mean, he on top of that, he does a lot of things very well already. But yes, over time, I mean, it's still a slight frame at 20 years old. Put a little bit of, I mean, he won't be wanting to bulk up, but perhaps put a little more muscle on it. It'll add a few miles on the serve, but a couple of things he does so well already, just how he holds the baseline, cuts off the short ball. Clearly sees the ball quickly, doesn't he? So his software is fairly bug-free.
It is.
Yes, he's just a little rushed after that serve, the cleanliness of the strike. That's where he was so good yesterday. Sinner against the big serve of Harris, the amount of balls he's able to put back within a meter or so of that baseline was incredible.
Oh dear, 2 in a row.
15.
A little bit of pressure comes. Glorious point.
He didn't want to play another shot after that one, did he?
It's all about the return, wasn't it?
Yeah, it gets him back on neutral immediately, and then he's, because of the court position, which we're seeing already, he's up on the baseline, Schwartzman back, he's able to find those angles.
So good already from both of them, but what a start. No wonder his team are on their feet. That's a stunning break of serve from Jannik Sinner. Well, Diego Schwartzman with plenty to process as he heads to his chair, because there was nothing he could do about that. That was next level.
That's Sinner, isn't it? Doing the incredibly simple very, very well. There's no, yes, a couple of big shots, but he's just happy to build that point, and when he sees that gap, just fire the winner, and you're right. It's got a couple things to think about already, Schwartzman. We talked about his serve, how comfortable being holding serve. It's not about the big serve for him, it's about setting the points up. But the problem here is these returns are coming back to a good length, and he's not getting that advantage to start on the front foot.
He's also giving Diego a dose of his own medicine there with the early take of the ball, but it's got that extra bit of zip on it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, another level of power.
Gigi Bearhegs, who's had a busy few days, hasn't he? Got beaten in round 1 here and then played a little bit of tennis in Dubai, and then he's back, and Dick Norman's making a phone call as well. It's all going on. Probably saying we've had a decent start here. First 3 games have been pretty good. And if he keeps up this sort of level and intensity, it's going to be a tough afternoon for Diego Schwartzman. Needs to try and get in to the Sinner serve if he can on return, which we know is such a strength of his game.
15.
On cue. We like the ones that sometimes make us look like we're talking sense.
Doesn't happen very often, sadly. Not often enough. Just no way through at the moment for him at all.
It's just the simplest of plays, and you just feel that Sinner could churn this out for hours on end.
That's going to hurt just a little bit more for Diego Schwartzman, because the spotlight is far too rapidly for his liking back on his own serve. Team Diego looking a little glum at the moment. Long way to go, mind you.
Slowly, progressively works his way back into that point in the court position. He's willing to scrap if he needs to, but doesn't need to for long often.
Exceptional. From start to finish, the most exquisite point.
Just as Schwartzman must have thought he's worked his way back into this. Good bit of defensive work. He finds a pretty good length, gives that ball some height. He pushes Sinner back ever so slightly, but given a bit of width, that's what he can do with it. Racket whip right around the outside of the ball. You saw the sort of puffing of the cheeks from Schwartzman.
Well, that's the kind of point he's going to have to roll his sleeves up and win relentlessly this afternoon.
15.
Yeah, and his team can take comfort in, that's what he does, Diego Schwartzman. He's not afraid to roll up his sleeves, but whether he gets a chance to get dirty, get stuck in, at the moment it's fairly one way.
Can't afford too many of those.
You see that reaction, he just feels as though he's been bullied, he's been pushed around. Looking for scraps.
Oh, my goodness. It's so good. Well, the double break, it feels in the blink of an eye. And if he keeps playing like this final isn't going to last long, is it?
It's not, no. And it was a bit like this yesterday. You thought perhaps Harris is going to find a way in his big serve, but it wasn't to be the case. He looks so calm doing it. That ball comes off the racket so cleanly. And yeah, I've said before, I think we're looking at a future #1 game. We haven't seen him come forward a whole lot yet, but he's happy to. Takes that short ball so well. Of course, a couple of areas can look to improve.
Do you think he could add a tiny bit more to his serve?
Yeah, I think that'll come over time. As I said, a little bit of strength. But I said it is almost, sometimes you don't want time to go too fast, but I imagine for his coaching team, it's like, let's just get up and get there because we're ready,
Well, it's just been scintillating so far from Jannik Sinner. No other word for it. He's won all of his first serves, and he dropped a point on serve so far. He's got stuck into the first serve of Diego Schwartzman. You always feel maybe there's a little bit of a chance with the second, but he is dismantling the first serve at the moment. The Argentine only winning 31% behind that first serve. Those numbers have to change. Moment he's just got to be patient really and hope that the Sinner level changes, because it's otherworldly at the moment. Missed one, he is human.
But it was on his terms. Able to produce that power through the middle of the court. This one here was just produces that short ball, and I suppose he takes some comfort from the fact that he still had control of the point. Schwartzman at the moment still just playing a rear guard action.
That's unlucky.
It was, and it couldn't have been by far. Get a little look, and it was a good volley from Sinner back in behind. Always dangerous to give anybody, particularly somebody like Schwartzman, that running forehand pass. Looks to just has got to slam on the brakes. Not easy to get the control, and he thought he had him. so simple, but it's so well done. The quality of that strike, the accuracy. The amount the ground that Schwartzman has to cover, the position he's playing his tennis from. It's going to make it a tough afternoon.
And we mustn't forget how quick and how fast a mover Diego Schwartzman is. At least he's getting to some of these balls. A lot of players wouldn't be. Be clean winners, that's how good it is. For the first time, just nibbling a little more than he could chew there, Jannik Sinner. The door opens.
Yeah, here is a chance for Schwartzman just to give Sinner a little something to think about. Not have things all his own way, which they have been so far. Got to find a few little battles that he can win. Wasn't going to suddenly start pushing it because he was break point down, was he?
Well, he's had to soak up a bombardment, hasn't he, Diego Schwartzman? And you're absolutely right, he wasn't going to let up at all.
Yeah, he knows his game and he's going after it. Of course, he does have comfort of the double break still. Just the 9th break point he's faced in the event. Saved all but one.
Of course, he comes up with an unreturnable.
And that's where you've got to admire Diego Schwartzman over his career. Hasn't had that option. Yes, he gets 3 points on his serve, but not as comfortably. And when they come at those sort of moments, they're extra precious.
It's brutal. It's ruthless and it's brutal.
And there was a little slip in there. Again, Schwartzman was just covering so much ground. Perhaps that little stumble meant he was leaning on an extra weight going through the ball. But look where he is, right into the dark blue. You don't see that reaction from Schwartzman too often, particularly not at this stage, but He's feeling under the pump.
Well, that might have been his chance in terms of that opening set disappearing for Diego Schwartzman, but he's certainly trying to lay down a marker here in the contest in general.
Oh, there's no doubt he's going to fight and fight, but yeah, we've seen the signs of frustrations, and you know, I often wonder, be like a boxer coming out with a plan, I'm going to hit him in the ribs, he's going to drop his hands, I'm going to go for the head, but you know, then you got this great plan, but then you sort of, the guy's jabbing in the head all night, and you can't get any of that plan into place, and frustration, not getting your game out there, and I think that's the case for Schwartzman right now. He's just having to defend, and he'll do that. The worrying thing is, the man on the other end might not give him a look in.
Well, that was the danger we were talking about on the second serve, which is why he needs to find as many first serves as possible.
Yeah, often he'll get away with this because it does come through in a slightly lower trajectory at times. That one got up a little, making contact above waist height center. And there he drops the pace on his first, which is another worrying sign.
Yeah, that's not going to get the job done when Sinner's in this kind of mood.
Yeah. But then again, playing off too many second serves is not either.
No, true. He teed that up exactly as he would have wanted, and the line was calling, wasn't it? But uncharacteristically, he wasn't able to find it for once.
A rare miss, having set it up.
Good serve.
That's what it takes, the outside of the line, isn't it?
Any port in a storm.
Yeah. Still comes out in the middle of Sinner's racket.
Well, that's a little bit of scar tissue from that opening return of this service game, which was a second serve, and it was walloped. Didn't want to make the same mistake again in the deuce court. But the double fault means set point.
Well, a rare occasion he was able to play up on the baseline, Schwartzman, but then the length from Sinner catches him out.
Teed it up again brilliantly. He's let his man off the hook a couple of times in this game with that forehand down the line.
Yeah, one into the net, one dragging it just wide. That was just around the outside, and perhaps he knew because he's moved so far it had to be good. Talk about this a lot, but it's an important game. He's probably not going to save the set, Schwartzman, but if he can start to get a foothold, start to, he has one way or another dragged a couple of misses out of Sinner. If he doesn't save the set, he start the second on a slightly more positive footing.
Well played, Diego Schwartzman. And that's a little moral victory, if nothing else. A couple of set points unclaimed by Jannik Sinner. Wasn't allowed to take them in truth. And it's about building traction moving forward, and he's got a little more of that now in this final. Still a long way to go. Well, if nothing else, it is about that, isn't it, Miles? Getting traction moving forward to that second set, which is inevitable. You feel that Jannik Sinner will finish the job in set one, and that will give him something to be a little more confident about, won't it?
It really will. It was all just happening way too easy for Jannik Sinner from Diego Schwartzman's point of view. And yes, just a couple of victories, a couple of unforced errors that were almost, were surprising given the form that Sinner showed, and just to halt that momentum ever so slightly, and maybe a chance for a break as well, perhaps. Just you can see the reaction, because 5 or 10 minutes ago there was a lot of frustration. It's just to get a little bit of reward for your endeavors.
There's a great atmosphere inside the Lotto Arena in Antwerp. And they're enjoying this contest. They're seeing some supreme ball striking.
The serve on its own is good, but just what follows adds that pressure. I think there's a lot of players, you know, Federer's certainly in that category. He's got a great serve, but Agassi too. But you know what follows up is Nadal, of course.
Jannik Sinner looking to quell any excitement levels that might have been rising in Diego Schwartzman after that hold.
Yeah, I'm not sure after what we talked about how much he has stalled that momentum. It's a 40 love shot, isn't it? Feeling good, expecting to make it all. It still wasn't that far off.
It wasn't. Now then, that is the Diego Schwartzman we all know and love.
This is an incredible play. He uses all of Sinner's power and a little dose of his own medicine. How quickly he moves onto this forehand, leans on it, gets his weight going in the right direction.
It's a very special set of tennis from Jannik Sinner as he strikes first in Antwerp, but just one or two signs that Diego Schwartzman was able to start to put the brakes on. The Italian was threatening to race away with it. He certainly has the first set, but it's bubbling up nicely for the second.
I think Diego Schwartzman may just leave for a quick break and a refresh and just draw a line under that set. And if you're a fan of his, look away now, because that might not be that pretty, the numbers. Below 50% on his first serve, squeaking just above with the second. It's been under a barrage from just about every angle. Incredible from Sinner, who took about a game and a half to get his radar dialed completely in. And well, the firepower on display has been quite stunning. He'll be hoping for more of the same. Schwartzman, he did throw a few bombs of his own at the end, just trying to turn the momentum a little bit in his way, but he's got quite a task on his hands here.
Well, Diego Schwartzman has taken a comfort break just to try and regroup a little bit. I think there'll be certainly signs at the back end of that set, though, Miles, where he felt like he was just beginning to assert himself a little bit for the first time in the set.
Yeah, particularly that forehand, and then he may just have to, you know, go beyond the red a little bit, Schwartzman, just to see if what he can do to upset Sinner. And he's a very calm, level-headed young man, Sinner, and you know, he looks comfortable playing this sort of level. It's one thing for an opponent to look down the other end and think, you know, my opponent's having a purple patch, but you know, it's not going to last forever, and you don't necessarily get that feeling from Jannik Sinner. He looks like he could do it for a while longer. Schwartzman hasn't really been able to make it physical, which is one way to do it. You know, a little bit, you take the legs away. But we see this a lot from just almost meditating, calming himself at the changeover.
That's something we haven't really discussed a lot so far in this final. Temperamentally, he is on the money, isn't he? He gives you so little on the court, very little reaction, but it's so balanced.
And talked a little about it yesterday. There's a number of these 20-year-olds that are just, astound me how level-headed they are. And we saw Brandon Nakashima early in the week.
Brooksby.
Seb Corder, Brooksby too. You have to put yourself, they're just 20 years old. But, and I suppose, you know, as we touched on, as the game's improved over time, physically players have improved, because there's a lot of information out there. Why not mentally as well? But it's still quite something, isn't it?
Now, what does Diego Schwartzman do about those first serve numbers? Because he's getting beaten up behind his first serve. In fact, his second serve is outdoing his first serve in terms of delivering points. How does he try and solve that puzzle?
That's a tough question. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of firepower to go to, you know, and he's not being able to start on the front foot. He's got to continue to mix it and, as I said, just grind away. Maybe be more aggressive if he gets the chance.
Well, there is a copy and paste from the opening set, and it starts with that return deep down the middle, which makes the point on his terms immediately.
Which is not easy, but one thing he can do perhaps is his court position, just to try and rush Sinner a little bit. I mean, that ball's dropping, he's playing at knee height. He's giving Sinner all the time in the world. As uncomfortable it might be for Schwartzman, he's got to do something. Got to come out of his comfort zone to try and unsettle the Italian.
This isn't what Diego Schwartzman would have planned. He's tried to hit the reset button after the opening set. Might have come forward there, chose to wait.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of look in there, but...
My word.
There's just nothing he can really do about it. He just doesn't have the firepower. He's tried to tuck Sinner up into the body.
Well, that is not the start that Diego Schwartzman wanted. It's exactly what he was after. And the good times keep rolling for the Italian at the moment in this final. Devastating power that he's showcased here today.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to sit here and talk about it than try and do it against that sort of barrage. I do think perhaps he's been a little pushed back a little too easily at times, and if he can just stay on that baseline, he's going to maybe miss some more, but it might just force Sinner out of this comfort zone that he's in. We talked about the firepower. When he's got time in the ball, he is devastating and has been.
That's just cruel.
Defending if he needs to. This is good stuff from Schwartzman. He has held his position. It's a rare point when he's been in front and able to push Sinner around a little bit, but the Italian athleticism, movement, balance, it's a complete package.
Go too long. Ball too long.
Another brutal start to this set by Jannik Sinner. Diego Schwartzman hasn't won a point in set 2 yet. That's how difficult the task is at the moment.
Please stop. Thank you.
Just surprises you when you miss, really, doesn't it?
It does.
And Schwartzman going for the body serve, and he's got to hit his spot. He was, I think, a little fortunate to get away with that.
Is there anything that Diego Schwartzman can bring here to disrupt this rhythm?
I said a big one, I think, is he can try to stay on the baseline a little more to rush Sinner, and as you sort of mentioned, perhaps a couple of slices so the ball stays low, but it's a slower, heavier court, so how effective that is, it's got to throw something out though. Yeah, there are times when you're up against a bigger, stronger, faster, better opponent, and your options are limited. Throwing in the serve volley is not particularly an option, but perhaps something like that, the drop shots, just if you can carries on like this, it's not going to end well, is it?
Identical spot for the miss. He's trying to open up the court a little. He's got to take it on, try and find that slightly shorter angle cross court. He's got the hold and something to build on, and they're only separated by the one break of serve in the second set. Things can change quickly, and that's what Diego Schwartzman will be counting on here. He trails by a break and 2-1 in the second set. making the numbers in this second set a little bit more encouraging, I was going to say, for Diego Schwartzman, but actually it isn't behind his first serve. He's only won 2 from 5. Same numbers reflected on second serve as well. And extraordinary performance so far from Sinner, hasn't it, as Team Diego try and get their man going again. He needs something.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's really going to find it. I mean, you know, we are nitpicking a little, and a couple of times he's gone for the body serve. There was, you know, one in particular in the first game in the second set. Didn't really hit his mark, and he's got to at his speed. It's got to be accurate.
Oh, we've had a terrific week of tennis in Antwerp this week. Fans have turned out in force.
Time.
It's been a treat to watch some of the matches we've had the pleasure of watching, starting with that Andy Murray thriller against Diego Schwartzman. Well, Francis Tiafoe first, and then against Diego Schwartzman. It's a match that will live long in the memory, both of them, in fact.
Yeah, I think tennis is in a really good place. I think we are seeing the sort of the twilight years, certainly, for Federer and Nadal, but you know, we've got plenty of interest with Murray and lots of these young guys coming through.
15 love.
Particularly interesting to see Murray, and you know, for me, that's a big match. If he can come back from Tiafoe and look reasonably in shape for the next round.
Well, he did. He took it to Diego in the first 5 or 6 games, and then Schwartzman just found his way and his rhythm and imposed himself and turned it around.
Yeah, and he's a top 20 player, and Murray's going to take a little time to find that level, but I don't doubt the ball striking, the competitiveness. It's the recovery.
So coolly done. The thing that catches the eye, Miles, about Sinner today is coming into this match, he'd only served 8 aces in the tournament so far. Well, he served 7 today, so he's in a beautiful service rhythm.
Yeah, I just wonder, obviously, limited reach for Schwartzman. If you do hit your spots, a little easier to hit those aces.
Just no way through at the moment, the number 2 seed. It is not for the want of trying, but it's all coming back.
Yeah, again, it shows the challenge. I mean, that's exactly what he's looking to do with the return. It was aggressive, but in one shot, a couple of shots, Sinner's turned that point right around and finds himself hit with an easy smash at the net. I promise you, they're enjoying this more than it looks.
It's all about business, isn't it?
Ricardo Piatti, an experienced coach. Spent a long time with Ivan Lubicic, with spells with Gasquet, helped Djokovic in his younger years.
Borna Coric took him to the verge of the top 10.
That is right. I almost feel with Sinner, it must be like having a winning lottery ticket in your pocket and you're on your way to pick it up and you keep your hand in your pocket just going, is it still there? Is it still there? Don't mess it up. Don't lose it.
We were speculating this week what his reaction would have been when he laid eyes on this guy for the first time, whether he'd have played it cool and said nothing for the whole session, or whether he got up after a couple of games and made some frantic phone calls to say, we've got a really good one here, or what it must have been like.
Yeah, I'd imagine, I mean, said experienced character, Piatti, and would have also known that there was a long journey ahead. Getting excited now.
Well, we were talking about fine-tuning things in a game that's already there, but there are certainly no weaknesses. He's so strong off both wings. There's nothing you can just pick away at, is there?
And that's the way the game these days has gone so far from, get it to the guy's backhand or just make him move. Weaknesses are when a player drops a ball short, when they're a little bit tight. You've got to get them to that stage still. But, yeah, he's got so much, the firepower. He said he's going to get a little stronger, that movement even better.
But he always seems so balanced, Miles, as well, doesn't he?
He does. You very rarely see him wrong-footed, going the wrong way. So the eyes are good. His anticipation, a number of different elements to that movement. Of course, the anticipation, the balance, the speed, how quickly you pick it up, how quickly you actually move, the accuracy of your footwork.
Well, he is sick of the sight of that return. Straight back at him with interest off the serve and no time to react, really.
Yeah, and again, it's not the biggest of serves, but it's right into that slot. Sinner's not having to move out the way. I think at least get him, tuck him up into the body, at least get him moving away from the ball.
That second return too much. It's a rare misjudgment. Oh, it's breathtaking.
It really is. But as you touched on, Sue, at this stage for Schwartzman, perhaps a few slices, perhaps a few loops, just to see what happens. Played at that tempo, and it's not easy to do when someone's hitting it that hard at you to change things up, but it's inevitable otherwise.
Double break belongs to Jannik Sinner. He's got one hand now very firmly on the trophy in Antwerp, unless Diego Schwartzman can come up with something very special. Yeah, it just feels a little bit, that penultimate rally was a great illustration of it. We were hitting it harder, redirecting it harder and harder at each other. And the thing is, it just feels like Diego is feeding the monster almost, and there's nothing he can do to stop it.
I think you're right. He's just so comfortable playing at that tempo. He's got the edge on Schwartzman, so perhaps it's a little bit of time to think. I mean, quite possibly it won't work, but yeah, had to give it a go at that stage. You can see Schwartzman just, you know, he's feeling a little dejected and beaten up, really. Bring that in his backpack with him.
I wonder if he made it when he arrived. Certainly going to catch the eye of Jannik Sinner, that's for sure. Both these men heading off to Vienna next week. Diego Schwartzman, a former finalist in Vienna, likes the conditions there as well.
Time.
This will be making the field there just sit up and take notice, won't it?
It will, yes. A number of players. Well, a few of them, quite a few would have played against Sinner and seen this sort of form at times, but of course, let's not forget that race to Turin is very much on. Very much.
Hubert Hurkacz will be watching this, I've no doubt, somewhere. He faces Andy Murray next week in the opening match.
Played a couple times, haven't they?
They have. And it was his victory over Jannik Sinner in the final in Miami, which may well define which one of them makes the ATP finals and which one doesn't. Maybe.
I think I'm correct in saying should Sinner win here, he'll just jump in front of Cam Norrie, who's 10th, and of course Hurkacz at 9th in the world is in at the moment because Nadal is not going to play in Turin. So it's sometimes, you know, again, it's another credit to Sinner and the likes of Norrie, because you know, often with that online, it's easy to get a little distracted with the spot in the tour finals. Very much looking focused on the job in hand here.
It's his relentless length. He's not where he wants to be, Diego, in any sense.
This might have been forehand coming up just a fraction of a mishit. You can see that different shape, but look at the length, and that's just caused the Schwartzman to mistime it. What's the pooch got to do with it?
Done it again. Just for a moment, Diego Schwartzman was starting to advance and gain a little territory, and didn't take long for that to change in that rally.
Yeah, that was one of the moments. He looked to make a little move, and then just look at the length on the defense from Sinner. He's just about, he's sliding that right foot out, not quite at the splits, but you know, again, with that reasonably sinewy frame. Plenty of balance and skill on the stretch. Ricardo Piatti out of his seat. And so we've talked a little about what Schwartzman can do, but you know, sometimes it's very difficult to do anything when you're just faced with that barrage. You know, you've got no time to make any of your own decisions. It's been the case frequently this afternoon.
And he's been playing so well all week, Diego Schwartzman,
Yes.
too. He'll have been feeling really good coming into this final.
He fancied his chances. He really has. Reasonably fresh, a couple of straight set matches coming in. Found form, a couple of hot streaks in those matches. I'm sure this is not what he envisioned. Yeah, let's not forget, he's 14th in the world. He's only one spot behind Sinner, Schwartzman.
It won't have felt like that today for Diego Schwartzman. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say about it afterwards, what it's like facing Sinner when he's in this kind of mood. Dispiriting, I think, would be one of the answers. Went for the 1-2 combination. Didn't quite make it. And Diego Schwartzman does live to fight another day. But for how much longer, that is the question. Well, he's got 3 titles already this season. Jannik Sinner is within touching distance of a 4th here. I mean, when you look at his career moving forward, Miles, and the way his game is, the sky's the limit, isn't it?
It is. I think we're watching a future number 1. Just he's got it all: the mentality, the athleticism. There's very few places to go, and you know, you'd only imagine with the attitude he's shown with a great coach that he's teamed up with, that he's going to continue to improve. There's some, you know, he's a quiet character, but some real drive there. And you know, the fact that 20 in the world already, knocking on the door of the top 10, bright future.
Already a Grand Slam quarter-finalist at the French. Do you see clay and hard courts perhaps being his most successful, or how much of an impact would you say he could have on the grass?
I think he could be a very good grass court player. As to times of speed and his willingness to come forward and transition onto that early ball, and the fact that sometimes, you know, take the extreme, the likes of Monfils, Medvedev, I think the movement's not so great because they rely on that traction on the court. Well, not so much for Sinner. He can play up in that baseline and dictate. So yes, perhaps one of the that could end up being one of his most likely wins. Almost talk about Grand Slams because Wimbledon perhaps could argue has the fewest contenders, and I think some of the guys like Zverev and Tsitsipas certainly at their weakest on that surface. They'll improve, of course.
Dropped just 2 points behind his first serve in the match. That's how dominant it's been. Only 7 dropped behind his second serve.
That sort of play, and you transfer that onto a grass court when he's willing to come forward and gets a little more value for the forehand.
That'll serve him well.
Yeah, this is not a play that all the players necessarily find comfortable yet. The likes of Rublev obviously hits the ball beautifully, but he doesn't want to be looking to get forward off that sort of shot on his way before as he strikes it.
Devastating.
Supposed to be a little nervous serving out for a title, aren't you?
40-15.
Just holds his ground. It allows him to just turn that point around so quickly.
Those nerves you were talking about.
14-13.
Title number 4 of a stellar season for Jannik Sinner, and the Italian's remarkable and relentless rise continues. It just wasn't Diego Schwartzman's day. Sinner too strong in all departments as he deservedly claims the trophy in Antwerp.
It smiles all around now, and what a player this young man is. A smile finally on the face of Riccardo Piatti. He can relax. There's going to be many more moments like that, you'd imagine. Start to run out of superlatives to describe the way this guy plays. Boy, oh boy, he is impressive.
He was just in the zone for so much of that match, and there was nothing that Diego Schwartzman could do about it.
Yeah, very little. It feels like he's been in
Jannik Sinner,
the zone since about this time yesterday.
Yeah, Jannik, are you?
Yeah, you're needed for the ceremony.
With your team, do you have time for a little interview?
I think he was hoping to take a quick comfort break.
Possibly.
But I think it might have to wait.
Jannik, congratulations. You just won your 4th title of the year, the first one in Antwerp. You played an unbelievable match.
Yes. The beginning, so you know, against Diego, you have to play your best tennis. I tried to push the ball, and I'm very happy about my level today.
You were a ski champion as a kid. You're a tennis champion now. Is there something you cannot do?
A lot of things I cannot do. No, I chose tennis because I love playing. You know, on my part, we ski a lot, so it's normal. And you know, but just speak about tennis, please.
Okay. Very well done. We hope to see you back next year. We will have the prize ceremony now, and you will get the trophy.
Thank you. Of course, I will be back, and thanks for coming out today. It was very, very nice to be here.
Yes, he is going to make a quick break for a comfort break. Time to absorb what he's just done, but celebrating with his team is always nice to see, and that feeling never gets old, does it, Miles?
So they say. Yeah, I think he's going to get pretty familiar with it. The titles he's going to rack up. Yeah, it was a really great performance, and you know, followed on from the sort of form he was in yesterday. Have a look at that, 91% when that first serve landed, so effective and really punished Schwartzman just for serving full stop. He was, you know, below 50%, and he got off to the perfect start. Jannik Sinner broken in his opponent's first game, as he did yesterday, and never looked back. He looked for nerves perhaps at the end of the first set when he was serving for the title, but nothing of the sort. He's so clear with what he wants to do. He did have to fight off a couple of break points. Perhaps Schwartzman could have done something a little more to find his way in, to make things a little bit more difficult, but there just seemed to be a gulf in the level. We heard Sinner mention that, is how happy he was about his level. That's what he's looking for, to put that out there, see how it matches up against his opponent, and today it matched up very, very well.
Dick Norman just waiting to get the ceremony underway, the tournament director. Dignitaries arriving, and Jannik Sinner not quite back yet.
Antwerpen, dames en heren, Peter Wouters.
He hasn't been late on much this week, has he? This has been the only thing.
Yeah, he's got a little unforced error somewhere. But, yeah, even Jannik Sinner's it's a little look at the trophy, and actually, is that what your shoulder looks like if you play on for? Just thinking of Goran Ivanisevic used to talk about how he had literally had holes in his shoulder by the end of his career.
Well, let's just tune in now to the trophy ceremony, shall we? And Sabine Appelmans is in charge of things.
Gelukkige toernooidirecteur bent. Het is een fantastische week geweest, de 6e editie van de European Open. En ja, ik denk dat jij graag een paar mensen wil bedanken.
Ik zal eerst in deze een beetje hoger zetten. We hebben de hele week van toptennis genoten en we hadden dinsdag al echt een recordmatch van Andy Murray tegen Tiafoe. Een recordmatch, de langste match ooit op hardcourt, 3 uur en 45 minuten. Dan stond Antwerpen direct op de kaart in heel wat landen, 100-tal landen wordt dit toernooi uitgezonden. En ja, we hebben echt genoten van toptennis, heel veel mooie matchen gezien met jonge jonge spelers die aan het opkomen zijn, zoals Brooksby. En ook, zoals we gezien hebben, deze finale was echt wel toptennis. Dat Jannik een topper ging worden, dat hadden we 2 jaar geleden ook al gezien. We hebben hem toen een wildcard gegeven. Hij was toen nauwelijks 18 jaar. En hadden toen ook al geschopt tot in de halve finale. En nu hebben we gezien, hij staat al bijna top 10. En heeft nu het toernooi hier gewonnen in Antwerpen. Ik zou ook graag een hele grote organisatie bedanken van het toernooi. Er zijn meer dan 400 mensen die hier deelnemen in de organisatie. En ik zou graag iedereen bedanken die deelgenomen heeft hier deze week. Graag een applausje. En er zijn nog 2 mensen dat ik zeker niet mag vergeten te bedanken. En dat is Ilse, mijn vrouw, in het bijzonder. En zij zorgt dat alles hier gestroomlijnd verloopt. En ik zou graag ook een applausje willen vragen voor Christophe Peulings voor zijn visie en zijn toewijding hier op de European Open in Antwerpen. Alright. Dan, zonder onze partners kan zo'n groot evenement natuurlijk niet doorgaan. Daarom wil ik ook nog eens Antwerpen bedanken, Betway, Event Vlaanders, ook de haven van Antwerpen en PSA. Zonder deze grote support zou dit totaal niet kunnen doorgaan ook. Graag nog een applausje voor onze sponsors. En goddank is corona bijna achter de rug. En wil ik graag nog een applausje voor jullie, want jullie waren echt een fantastisch publiek.
Dick, there is somebody else you would like to thank and give a trophy, and that is the chair umpire, Carlos Bernardes, please. En dan vraag ik graag aan de schepen van Sport Peter Wouters om de trofee uit te reiken aan de finalist, the finalist of the European Open this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Diego Schwartzman. Diego, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah. I want to. How I do this? Okay, like this. Well, first I want to say to Jannik, a few words. He's playing unbelievable. I mean, I was playing one of my best weeks in all the year, I think, and today I had no chance since the beginning of the match. He was playing and doing everything better than me. So congrats for you. I know that you are going to have too many more titles for sure. He's also a very good person, just not a very good competitor. So everyone is happy when he's winning. So it's very important also to be a good person outside the court. So congrats to the team as well, family, everyone. Then thanks to my team. I have a coach here, physio, my girlfriend, family home, another coach, and a few more people that obviously they have helped me since I'm very young to be in a few finals, 3 already here. I didn't win, but I have to come back for one more chance. I don't know, maybe the next one. Just to finish, thanks everyone for coming. After the COVID-19, it's very difficult to have, 100% stadiums playing. So thank you everyone for coming every single day. Thanks the organization, the government from here that make possible the tournament and all this crowd inside the stadium. So we'll see you next year, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Diego, for your kind words. En mag ik dan Jacques Vermeijren vragen van het avondbedrijf Antwerpen om de trofee uit te reiken aan de winnaar. De trofee is gemaakt door kunstenaar Jan de Marais. Hij heeft al een paar jaar deze mooie trofee ontworpen. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the European Open 2021, Jannik Sinner.
So, well, first of all, Diego, congrats for your week. I mean, today I played well. I think you are, the best guy on tour, off court. Everyone likes you. Really, you are the best friend, I think, of everyone. And of course, congrats also to your team. I know you are working very, very hard, and hopefully you can win some more tournaments, because I think you are an incredible player. Then, of course, my team, big pleasure that I can practice every day with them. We're working very, very hard to get better day after day, and having this kind of results this year so many times. So I'm very, very grateful, and hopefully we can go on. So thank you very much. And then last thing, thanks for chair umpires, no lie umpires, for ball kids, ball boys, everyone who make this tournament so special. As he said, I had a wild card 2 years ago here. I played well there also, so I was happy to be back, and obviously thanks guys for coming out. It was very, very great to play in front of you guys, having 100% crowd everyone missed. So thank you very much, and see you guys next year. Thank you.
We'll take a few more pictures of the two finalists.
Where do we go?
Voilà, nog een laatste applausje voor de finalisten van dit jaar.
Well, it was a fitting end to a fabulous week in Antwerp, and a final to really enjoy. Not so much if you're Diego Schwartzman, but for the tennis purists and the ball striking, it was magnificent.
It really was, and I think even if you're Diego Schwartzman, there was some tennis to admire there. Boy, oh boy, we're going to be seeing this guy in a lot more trophy ceremonies. He'll get very comfortable with the level of tennis he's playing. He's going to get better. He enjoys it out there. He's a student of the game, and by all accounts, a super nice guy. And yeah, what a week it's been. We've seen some of the young players, a couple of 20-year-old American qualifiers who went deep in the tournament. Of course, we saw Andy Murray come back and put up a great fight. He came second against Diego Schwartzman, who continues to battle, but it is all about this young Italian.
It certainly is. A 5th title of his career, a 4th of this year. It's been a joy to watch him play tennis this week. We've enjoyed it from Misu Thole and Miles McLagan on the final today, but also Ravi Ubar and Simon Reed and Jonathan Overend, who were with us this week as well, enjoying all the tennis from Antwerp. I hope you